Welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and welcome back to Amateur April, the time of year where I like to introduce you guys to artists that I think deserve a much larger following with the immense amount of talent that they are presenting onto the world. And for today's episode, we'll allow my guest to sweep you off your feet with a fantastic old friend of the podcast. Today's guest is the sweeper, Jak Myles, a wrestler from Warner Robins, Georgia, looking to take out the trash every time he steps in the ring. Jak is someone that I have known for years, ever since we've been in college, and it's been so good to see how much he's been able to grow as a person, and especially as a wrestler, really stepping into the wrestling world. So I knew I needed to get him on the podcast to talk about just his experience so far and the immense joy that this kind of career and this kind of art field kind of brings him. If you enjoy our guest today, please make sure you support him with the links down in the description below. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can, and you know I see that stuff. You know it genuinely warms my heart. If you want to go a little further with that support, may I recommend you check out the merch shop on fourthwall.com. That link in the description below. We have some fantastic designs. It's done by some amazing artists, and I think you would look sensational in that today. And speaking of support, I think it would be inappropriate for me not to mention that some former guests of the podcast, namely Gene Goldstein of Jellybox and the wonderful people over at Bliptunes, are currently running Kickstarters right now to get their newest animated shows up off the ground. So I think that if you guys can, check out the description below and check out the Kickstarters for either Umbert Actually or Zipped Up. And please, 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 if you have not already, support them today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Oh, hey, look what I got. Yeah.
Absolutely, we love that.
Of course, I had to get that, all right? Like, there was no way I was going to do this interview and not rep the sweeper itself, all right? Like, that would just be a disservice on me. I also went ahead and made sure to get myself another kind of sweeper for the interview as well.
I would have mine, but mine is currently doing its job out in the house.
No, honestly, valid. That's fair. I get it. Look, not everyone can have their props ready to go, all right? I get it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for taking time to do this, though. Seriously, like,
absolutely.
I know I had talked about it here and there or whatnot, but like, I knew I wanted to get you an opportunity on this podcast to talk about this kind of stuff and just talk about the stuff you're involved in general. Because like, I especially with how long I've known you, man, I've seen the hard work you put into this stuff. So I want to give you that credit, that love, you know.
Well, I really appreciate it. It's to be honest, on my end, I don't feel like I'm putting in the work that I should or the work that I could be putting in. But for what I have and where I'm at, you know, especially being married, we got a house.
Yeah,
I'm doing what I can. I'm hoping, and I'm not gonna speak too much on it because it'll probably go into the actual episode. But
right.
Hoping later this year to get some stuff really shaken, especially once all of the. Because we got some travel that we're doing for like personal stuff that's happening. Once that gets done, hopefully the later half of this year can be really devoted to me like hitting the ground with what I want to do in wrestling. So,
well, I mean, I feel like I'm excited to see what you're gonna be doing with that kind of stuff, especially seeing what you've been able to do now and kind of the position you've been given these days or whatnot. Like, I'm excited to see where it could go like next. I'm waiting for the opportunity you can finally get up to Athens and like do a show there. You know, that's when I'll be excited. I was gonna say, if you want. I mean, I know you probably know some people that work like Classic City Wrestling or whatnot. Like, I go to their shows all the time or whatnot. Like, that would be pie in the sky.
I'm friends with the guy who works that, the guy who runs that promotion. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Isn't he like the taller guy with like long hair or whatnot, or is it a different person that runs? Yes, okay. That's who exactly.
His name is like Justin something.
Yep. That seems about right.
And I hate that I don't remember
I
right off the.
I remember the first show that I went to, the first ever Classic City wrestling show that I went to. He like sprained his ankle, like just doing so like simple like jumping from the stage, I think it was, and getting into the ring, and like spent the entire show like limping the entire time, but still like getting the show along or whatnot.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because literally, I've come to notice wrestling injuries never actually happened while you're doing the wrestling.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's always when you're not wrestling, when you get wrestling related injury, then you're just like, I don't know how that happened, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Might as well roll with the punches, right?
Right.
Nah, but like the opportunity, I'll tell you right now, the opportunity you get the chance to wrestle in Athens, you better believe I'm gonna be front row rooting for your ass, like no end. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, Jack. Before we really do get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get to really enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations, it's not like fully desert island. It's like you have all the amenities, like a personal B&B paradise away from society for a little bit, you know? To help make sure you don't go completely insane on this island, you could bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
Oh, that's really good. One piece of media. So you mean like anything like videos, songs, anything?
Yeah, like and I'm a little loose. So it'd be like, movies, series, albums, video games, whatever you consider in the realm of like media or art. It's all fair game.
Oh, this one gonna be kind of, somebody's gonna hear me and say, really? That's what he's gonna choose? But it's going to be one specific video.
Okay.
And it is a wrestling match. One of my absolute top 10 favorite wrestling matches ever.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 26.
Yeah.
I could, just one media. Just one media. It would be that match, so I could just watch it.
Okay.
Because throughout the year, I will randomly go back and watch that match randomly anyway.
Okay.
So,
is there any particular reason why that is the particular match? Like, you want to make sure you go through it and like just watch it over and over again?
So I will say a lot of it deals with the build up to that match.
Right.
Because to those that don't know, they had a match the year prior at WrestleMania. The Undertaker won because at the time we were very well into the streak, the WrestleMania undefeated streak. Shawn Michaels goes on a year-long downward spiral where he is like, no, I know I can beat The Undertaker. I know I can beat you. And he literally, like, it breaks up his tag team. He loses the tag team championship he had. He almost gets fired. Like, he goes on this long downward spiral. He literally, to the point, invades another match, cost The Undertaker his title that he held at the time, and was like, no, face me at WrestleMania. Get your revenge. I know I can beat you. Fight me. And The Undertaker was like, okay, fine. I'll do it. But if I beat you, you're done. Your career is over. And Shawn, and arguably the best line from that entire build-up, if I can't beat you, I don't have a career. And that, just that build-up to that match, we literally go into that match, and it's already like they're on 10 from the jump.
There you go. And
it just builds, and the match is the best compliment to the story building that they did. So that's why I think that match is, and I don't want to solidify. I always say it's in my top 10 of favorite wrestling matches. I never put it on like a specific number. I just say it's in my top 10.
I feel like you should at least narrow it down to like a top 5 at the very least. Like I this is just me saying that with how much that kind of more or less means to you. And I feel like top 5 is a more bigger compliment than top 10.
And you're absolutely true because, like I was saying, like the story that was told is so good that like I just did. I was able to tell you basically the entire story right off the bat without even having any kind of like prep into the story itself. So yeah, I could definitely agree with top 5.
I imagine there's got to be at least a video out there of just like talking about like the entire like WWE nowadays they're doing like the whole entire like the entirety of the Bloodline story or whatnot. There's got to be one person that's done like the entirety of the Shawn Michaels Undertaker feud like video in like a 5-hour essay or something like that. You know?
Oh, absolutely. I know they have to, especially considering a lot of people don't know, or I guess they don't think about, like, they wrestled back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like the whole infamous like Shawn Michaels lost his smile after he got hurt. That came off the back of him breaking his back while he was having a casket match with The Undertaker.
Well, I mean, for God's sakes, one of the biggest debuts of all time happened in an Undertaker-Shawn Michaels match. Yeah, wasn't it Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in a in a steel cage or Hell in a Cell?
It was the Hell in a Cell, and that's when Kane. You're right. You're absolutely right. When Kane debuted. All right, man. Look, people. That's one of those moments that people often forget. Like the moment of Kane debuting, people forget about the fact that match was happening. Exactly. Oh my goodness, you were so right on that one. Yes,
exactly. But regardless,
and the match itself was pretty good too. Oh, I can't even it was a pretty good Hell in a Cell match.
Oh no, it was absolutely a good match. It's just like everyone remembers obviously the moment, especially with how momentous it was, and just like they really sold how big of a deal Kane was back in the day. That's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane. But regardless, WrestleMania 26, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. That is your answer. You're locking that in.
Yep.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You would look fantastic in the merch that we have at the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at Postmod Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. From Warner Robins, Georgia, the man looking to take out the trash every time he steps in the ring. Welcome to the podcast, the sweeper, Jak Myles.
Sweep. It's the sweep. Acting like you ain't the one man. Talk is cheap. How are y'all doing?
I'm glad to have you here today, man. How are you holding up?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic now that I'm getting the opportunity to do this with you. You and I go way back. We go way back, but we go back to college days or whatnot, and to see you like growing and progressing in the world or whatnot, I knew I needed to have an opportunity to have you here, at least on this podcast, in this capacity, because you have been on this podcast before. People that may remember the podcast may remember I had you as a special guest host when we had Joe Horn, the director of Class of 3000, among many other things. But even, some of our closer friends may even remember we actually previously had a podcast beforehand.
Oh my God. Hey, I'm not even going to lie to you though. That podcast, it helped teach, I at least for me, it helped teach me a lot about how to have a podcast, how to build it, how to structure it. So, it was definitely one of those college days. We didn't know what we were doing, just kind of being around. But I feel like it was a good stepping point to help us grow.
I still think fondly back to our legendary podcast, What the Wrestling. All right, I still that was the first time I ever had like a proper interview on a podcast. Whenever we were able to get Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret on there.
Man. I forgot all about getting to interview Brian Zane.
Right?
I forgot we did that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was like one of our first videos, if I remember correctly.
It was.
Yeah.
I think I can go back to the archives. Holy crap.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the YouTube page is still up there, if I remember correctly.
It most definitely still is.
And I might put that in the description just so people can see exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I still you could tell that we were definitely rusty and we were definitely like college kids trying to figure out how in the world we're doing what we're doing or whatnot. But think about where we were then to where we are right now, like continuing to grow, doing our own things, me doing a podcast on our own form, you getting the chance to step into the wrestling world full on and get to do some of these incredible opportunities and really get a crowd behind you. Like, it's gonna be it's so great to see how much you have grown, and I cannot wait to talk about the stuff you are doing. But before we talk about the stuff you're doing nowadays, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Jak. What got you interested in the arts, and more specifically, what got you interested in wrestling in the first place?
Okay, so that it's always kind of a fun story to tell, in my opinion, because very similarly to a lot of people who watch wrestling and people who participate in wrestling, I grew up, didn't really have a lot of stuff, that I watch. It actually happened because during the summers and on weekends during the school year, my parents would basically just give me free reign of like TV, video games, just stay out of the way. So one night, I just happened to be just flipping through channels on TV, and I come across SmackDown.
Okay.
And I'm watching it, and I remember one of the first people I ever saw in wrestling was Rikishi. I mean, Rikishi back in the day doing the stink face, he was dancing the whole nine. And just something about that drew me in from the jump, literally to the point to where at my most infectious, I literally had my parents subscribe me to the WWE magazine, and I would get monthly. I would get the monthly magazine. I would doggone near fight my dad to get to the mailbox to where I could get it first. Like if I knew what day that it was gonna get to the house, I would like almost fight my dad to get there so I could get it first and be like, "Here's your mail. Give me my magazine." And I would have it. I would be flipping through it and will have read through most of it within the hour of getting it.
There you go. That's that love and enthusiasm right there. Like first and foremost, like what was it about wrestling that like just drew you into in the first place?
Something about just the story, the athleticism, the fact that the fact that it did like it told a story. You had people in these like weird get-ups, these weird outfits. They're not dressed like normal people. They're dressed like superheroes almost. They're like you got these guys in these bright, colorful colors, and they're out here yelling at each other, talking about I'm gonna beat you up next week when you get in this ring with me. And it's like, why can't you beat them up now? But you know what? I'm gonna tune in next week to find out why you're gonna beat them up then. Absolutely, I am. Man, growing up, I used to get so defensive to the point to where I would literally argue with classmates whenever, because I would take my magazines to school with me. I would literally argue with classmates. They'd be like, it's not real. And I'd be like, and even, look, first off, I would never admit to them that I still believe that it was 100% real when I was a child.
Right.
Like, I still had that belief that, like, The Undertaker was actually a 7-foot zombie mortician that liked motorcycles on occasion. But, like, I would like, you know what? So in 90% of the stuff that you watch on TV.
Exactly.
You still enjoy that, don't you? Leave me alone. There's one guy I remember his name was like Ryan. I remember he saw a picture. It was of John Cena, I believe, locking in the STF. No. Was it? It was a submission hold being applied to Bobby Lashley. I remember that one. And he looked at me and goes, I make that same face when I do baseball practice. And I'm like, okay. Like, okay. You're not fighting against another guy that's like twice your size trying to make you submit. Like, you're just running around a field. Ugh.
Like,
you don't have thousands of people chanting your name while you're running around a field. These guys have thousands of people chanting their name. Millions of people around the world that tune in every week to watch them. You ain't got that.
Yeah. Congratulations, you can make a face. You know who else can make a face? Your mom last night. Anyways.
I was in the 6th grade. I did not have that kind of mental fortitude to make those jokes yet.
No, neither did I. This is obviously an adult making fun of a kid in retrospect, all right? Like, let's I think I already know a lot of the answers to this because obviously you and I, we talk about wrestling a lot. In fact, you were one of the guys that got me into wrestling just in general. You and obviously our good friends such as the people over at the Anime Egotists with Alex Foster and Richard.
Absolutely.
But what were some of those guys early on, some of those wrestlers that had inspired you and probably still inspire you to this day to like that give you that love of wrestling more than anything else?
Okay, so to be honest, there's a long list, but I do always try to narrow it down. Some of the top guys that inspired me were guys like MVP,
Okay.
Shelton Benjamin, Booker T, Undertaker, obviously, Shawn Michaels, John Cena. And as
Mm-hmm.
much as, in recent times, a lot of people might not like John Cena, I can actively look back and say that like John Cena was a big part of why I did fall in love with wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Especially because, back in the day, post rapper gimmick John Cena was very much the never say die, never say quit attitude type person, and I just really vibed with that.
Yeah.
Then you got other guys like Jeff Hardy, who I absolutely wanted to be like. I wanted to be like Jeff Hardy so bad, and it was hard.
Everybody in their life wants to be Jeff Hardy at one point or another, even to this day.
Yeah, and it was hard having protective parents because anytime you tried to do anything that was remotely risky, they were like, "No, sit down." I was just like, "Man, I can't ever do nothing in this house." I, one time I was able to do it, and my dad lost his shit on me because I had wrestling on the TV in the front room, in the living room.
Okay.
And I used to do this thing when I was younger, up until probably I was like 11, 12 years old, where I would jump over the couch and then tuck and roll into like the middle area of the floor. I did that one time, not realizing that my dad was in the house. Because usually I would only ever do it when I was home alone.
Okay.
I did it. My dad was in the house. All of a sudden I hear, "What the hell wrong with you?" I'm just like, huh? What? Like, don't ever let me catch you doing something like that here on this couch in this house ever again. He laid into me for a solid like 5 minutes.
Right.
I didn't care. Wrestling was on the TV. Jeff Hardy was actually actively about to come out to the ring to do a promo. I didn't care. I was happy. It was, oh my goodness.
Goodness. Like, I mean, obviously, especially whenever you grew up loving wrestling or whatnot, we all have that phase where we want to be XYZ or whatnot. Hell, like I said, I got into wrestling into college or whatnot, and I wouldn't mind, like, doing a 5-knuckle shuffle or something like that just for the shits and giggles of it. So I'm also curious because I imagine, especially growing up or whatnot, knowing the kind of college that you went to, again, same college as I did. What were some of the other like arts in general that you were invested in and like got to be invested a lot more in?
So, some of the other stuff was definitely music.
Mm-hmm.
I had an older brother. Have an older brother and an older cousin that when I was younger, they were both in band.
Okay.
They both played trombone, and so just kind of being the little kid that I was, looking up to my older brother and older cousin. Once I got old enough to start having extracurricular activities, I was like, I want to do band. I want to be in the band, just like my brother. And I followed that up literally. I followed that up from sixth grade all the way up through college. Honestly, I was in marching band and several different jazz bands and concert band and symphonic bands. I was in a couple of trios.
Okay.
It was a lot that I did. Even to this day, every now and again, I'll pull out my trombone and I'll doodle around with it just to see if I still got my chops.
There you go.
I will say it's hard being an Xavier Woods fan when you are basically the exact same as him when it comes to everything that he does and everything you're trying to do.
Hey, look. Hey, look. Sometimes that the connections are there. Like, you can easily link that stuff up. It's more or less like coincidence at the end of the day. I mean, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like, you're not the only trombone person in this interview right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in middle school for like a year and a half, I played trombone or whatnot. The only reason why I stopped is because like one of the homework assignments or whatnot was to practice, but then you had to like write down like how much you practice or how many hours you practice. And I never filled out the report, and I got F's on those. And so my parents were just straight up at a certain point, it's like, well, if you're not going to do the work, then you don't deserve to do the fun part of playing a trombone. So no, you're out.
Fair.
Yeah,
that is 100% fair.
So obviously there's a lot of love when it comes to the arts in one form or fashion, especially when it comes to wrestling. A lot of love when it comes to that. When did
100%.
when did it go from this like love more or less to a passion and knowing that it could potentially be your career or at least something that you want to really dedicate yourself like lifelong?
So I have to admit, that moment did not happen until I got into college.
Okay.
And I say that because up until that point in college, I hadn't really I had been to some WWE house shows, but
Right.
I had never been to any of what's known as like indie wrestling shows. I'd
Yeah.
never been to any of them. And so I'm in college. This is 2018, 2017, 2018, right in there. I start seeing these yard signs around Valdosta that said live pro wrestling, and then it had a date on it. And then it said Mathis Auditorium. Huh. Okay, cool. So I check it out. I get a not front row, but I get a ringside seat. It's like second row.
Right.
I'm watching these guys wrestle, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, wow. Wait, so this is a real. Wait, so this is an actual possible thing that I could already get started into on this level. So after the show was over, I hit up the guy who owned the promotion. He thought I was just trying to get an autograph. I was trying to talk to him about actually like getting in. So I called the number that he has on the road sign, and he tells me about when I can do my tryout.
Okay.
And so I go out, I do the tryout, I'll meet somebody that will bring him up probably a little bit later.
Definitely will.
I meet a guy who he runs me through my tryout. I do the tryout. He's just like, okay, well, you made it through and you didn't quit before, so cool. It shows that you want to do it. And from that moment, while I admit I did have other things that I had to put my energy into first because life, you gotta put other things first. You do have to have a priority list.
Right.
Wrestling always was one of those things that made the top three of my priorities.
Okay.
And it just was one of those things that and I've said this from the jump. As long as I have an opportunity to be a part, I am going to move mountains to be a part.
I mean, no, I can absolutely. Trust me. If there's one person that I can attest for when it comes to knowing that love and passion for wrestling is there to where you want to be a part of it, it's definitely you. Especially seeing how much you are passionate with just watching the product. All right, and you're gonna hate me for bringing this up, but I know there's one moment in particular. There's several moments whenever we're sitting down, we're watching wrestling or whatnot, but I know one of the biggest moments definitely has to be Royal Rumble. I think it was 2017, possibly, if I remember correctly. 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. You know which one I'm about to bring up.
A man named Roman.
Yes, a Samoan named Joe entering it at number 30. For those that don't know the context, that Rumble was getting down. We're getting to the final one, number 30, and we're thinking that Samoa Joe is going to be coming out at number 30. We're all excited for it or whatnot. We get to the countdown or whatnot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did
He had just lost his championship earlier in the show, so that I'm not gonna get mad about that.
Well, again. He didn't lose his championship. He lost his championship match. Kevin Owens was still the champion at the time.
But he lost the championship match. So that tells me you didn't have enough faith that you were going to beat him, so you had your spot secured in the Royal Rumble? That's booty. That's booty. You mean to tell me you felt so little about yourself that you were like, nah, I'm going to have a spot in the Royal Rumble as my backup just in case? What would you have done? What would you have done had you actually beat him? Then what?
Probably giving up the spot to someone else. Just be like, all right, well, I got what I needed, so. Or maybe it's the classic Royal Rumble rule of actually someone else was supposed to be number 30, but he beat that person up. And because that person could not go in, he had to take the spot.
If that were how it worked, I would have been fine. Had we gotten like a backstage thing of like somebody beaten up down on the ground, and then we just see somebody standing there, and then it was him. Hey, cool, fine, whatever. But to make him just be so.
Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to press that button. I had to press that button at least once. All right, just to get it.
Listen, wrestling fans who made it through that era have every right to be salty towards some of these ones that are getting into wrestling now.
Yeah.
And talk about how great wrestling is. Like, you weren't there.
Oh no,
you weren't in the trenches with us.
So my girlfriend has been getting back into wrestling. She was huge with like the Attitude Era or whatnot, but like she dropped off around like I want to say like early 2010s or whatnot, like around like the punk stuff or whatnot, and only recently got back into it like hardcore because I'm into it hardcore or whatnot. And I had to tell her like the trauma stories of, remember, whenever I was in wrestling, when I first got in 2016, the main event of WrestleMania was Roman Reigns versus Triple H.
Yeah, that was that year. I mean, that was the stretch of years where Roman Reigns was the main event.
Oh yeah,
every 5 years in a row, 4 or 5 years in a row, he was the main event.
But at least the first one was entertaining because we had the cash in, you know?
Yeah, I will 100% admit to that. I'll never forget that. That was a good night. That was a good night.
See, I'll tell you right now, if that was the night that I had gotten into wrestling, I'd be more justified for being a wrestling fan. But no, the first time I got into wrestling was January 2016, around the Royal Rumble time, all right? Like, yeah.
That's when he invited you in. Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's whenever you guys let me into that group. But at the same time, it was also around that time where we went to that first NXT live show, and that was fun.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Hold on, do you remember who was on that one?
I don't remember. Okay, yes, I remember the main event, and I remember the first match. All right, and there's a reason why, because I love telling the story or whatnot. The first match was Biff Busak versus Levis Valenzuela Jr. Yeah. And then the main event was American Alpha, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable going up against the Revival for the tag team belts.
Man,
yeah,
just bringing up those names quite literally just feels like a lifetime ago.
I know, like 2016 was a weird time for us more than anything else.
I will say though, you bring up NXT shows, still favorite moment, any wrestling show, favorite moment of any wrestling show.
Okay, wait, because there's one or two that I think you're gonna bring up, and I think I know it's gonna be the funnier of the two.
You know which one. Yeah, that's cool. I can do push-ups too.
Okay. Don't jump to that point. Let's tell the whole story as it is, and let the people because I still tell this story fondly. All right,
please.
So it was a tag team match of Heavy Machinery, which is Tucker Knight versus Otis Dojovic, just later known to be just Otis. Oh yeah, babe. Oh yeah. Going up against the duo of Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli. Now, the gimmick, the thing they decided to do for that match or whatnot is, hey, we're these big, like, buff, like, sculpted guys. I mean, literally, they had abs for days or whatnot. And it's like, hey, we're the buff guys. You guys are obviously a bunch of fat, lazy slobs. I mean, look at how big y'all are or whatnot. And so
the literal blue-collar workers.
Yeah, the literal blue-collar workers. So they would just be doing, like, just athletics of, like, flexing and, like, doing push-ups, like, on, outside the ring or whatnot. And there was one time to where Tino Sabatelli tags out, Rick Moss gets in, Tino goes down to the mat, down to the floor, and starts doing push-ups. Now, Tino is all the way on the opposite end of where I'm looking at. I'm sitting front row. I lean over the rails, and I decide to be a little shit, because I'm a little shit at wrestling shows. I love interacting with the wrestlers at the shows or whatnot. So I lean over, and I say, hey, Tino, I can do push-ups too. Now, for people
without missing a beat. That's the point.
I was say, well, you'll get to that point. I just want to at least reiterate for my viewers. I'm going to put a photo of Tino Sabatelli right here. All right, look at how sculpted this man is. Look at the definition on this man. Okay, so again, he's on the floor doing push-ups. I lean over. Hey, Tino, I can do push-ups too without missing a beat. This man looks right at me, and he goes,
"Yeah, but do you look like me?"
It wasn't that aggressive. It was literally just like, "Yeah, but do you look like me?" Like, just so casual about it, or anything else.
And the funny part about it, there's 5 of us in this group that have come to the show. We're all sitting in a row. So he says that. He gets up, looks at him. We all stop and go,
Oh, it's.
I mean, dog, we can't even argue.
It's
Sorry.
not. It's not even that. Like, it's one of those like, yo, he said that the entire arena in this dinky little recreational center goes, oh. You guys are looking at me like he's got a point, man. Like, we're not like they're not like obviously they're not defending me. And I'm just sitting there like, I mean, yeah, he has a point. Like, he's not wrong.
Bro, it was the funniest. It was literally just the not missing a beat for us. And we all went. I'm sorry, man. I can't even. I can't. I'm sorry, dog.
See, that night was memorable for that, but also that was the night that we got to meet No Way Jose twice in one night.
Absolutely. Oh, God. Oh, God. We met him twice.
Yes.
Oh, my God. How about that?
That's
okay. I will also admit, I don't know how he feels about the second time we met him. But as somebody who had that same sort of interaction where I've been at a show, wrestled, and then was recognized at a gas station later, I'm just like, oh, cool. Hey.
There you go.
Thanks for coming out, and I really appreciate it. And like, it was a wild situation. I was really shocked that he remembered me, to be honest. Like,
oh yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, especially as you really took those further next steps to really get into that wrestling world or whatnot and actually be a part of it in one form or fashion. Like, I imagine it has to be kind of surreal to think, like, here you were previously being a fan and, like, talking about these, like, fun moments to actually getting a chance to step in that squared circle or whatnot. Like, what was it like for you to finally, like, take that next step from, like, the tryout or whatnot to actually, like, training and getting in that ring and actually getting the opportunity to be like, I could do this?
The first big difference is the learning curve for how to properly work is very steep.
Mm-hmm.
They make it look easy on TV. I will say that as someone who has now done it. They make it look easy. It is not easy whatsoever. That, my God, it is, and I will say the training can sometimes suck.
Of course.
But the reaction from the fans is where that, like, it makes it worth it. And so I think that being the biggest difference is now knowing as a fan, this is what I would want to see someone like me do, and then trying to make that thing happen as the wrestler who's like, okay, well, if I was a fan, I'd want to see this. Okay, let's see if I can make that happen.
Right.
And that's where that difference comes from now, because it's like I won't say it's the best of both worlds situation, but it's definitely one of those you have multiple perspectives on how to craft your craft, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of like whenever like we were in college or whatnot, and like we would watch a film or whatnot, and me being part of the mass media program or whatnot, I would have both a new level of respect for how certain films are made, but I would also be the person like critiquing it 20 different million ways and like not enjoying the film as much as I could or whatnot, like it's interesting to have that perspective, like in hindsight, especially now that you're actually really in this world, and I mean legitimately in this world at this point. Like, you've been able to make some really cool appearances and really make your presence known, especially with your fantastic, wonderful gimmick known as the Sweeper.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, if I may ask, how exactly did the Sweeper come to be? How did this way? How would you describe yourself as the Sweeper, and how did you become the Sweeper?
All right, so the Sweeper is the not so mild-mannered, fun-loving guy who is all about making professional wrestling clean. He wants to clean up professional wrestling because there's a lot of dirtiness in wrestling, both literally and figuratively. He wants to sweep it all up, and he wants to sweep up all the competition on his way to bigger and better things in the world of professional wrestling. Now, with that being said, how I became the Sweeper is all I don't know if you remember the guy that you had on your podcast a little while ago, currently the promoter and owner of Kraken Professional Wrestling, Sam Hansen.
Yep.
AKA Hold My Beer Hansen.
Yep.
All his fault. To this day, I still tell this story, and it's his fault. He is the reason that I became the sweeper. Even before I was a wrestler, when I was still a referee, I was the sweeper. And it's all his fault. And if you don't mind, I'll tell the story.
No, please do. This is a podcast. I encourage stories.
Absolutely. So, a couple years ago, back, I want to say 2019, it was going into the fall of 2019, if I remember correctly. Yes, it was the fall of 2019. It was a wrestling show in Valdosta. Same one that I got my start in, that by that point I was refereeing. At one of the shows, Hold by Bear Hansen had a match for a hardcore championship. During the match, they break a table. As you know, when you break a table, splinters, wood everywhere, all over the ring. In between, after his match, I'm told by the guy that runs the company, hey, so we need somebody to go out there and sweep out the ring because we got a match coming up in like 5 minutes. There's going to be a promo, but then we need you sweep out the ring so that way we'll be ready for the match. As the referee, go do it. Okay, fine. So I grab the broom, I go out to the ring, start sweeping up the ring. I'm sweeping it out, getting the big pieces of wood out the ring, throwing the bigger pieces under the ring because we can't take them anywhere else right now.
Right.
Sweeping out the ring. The current heavyweight champion of the promotion, known now as Atrocity Cruel.
Yep.
He's now known as that. He didn't go by that back in the day, but he's now known as Cruel. He comes out and he starts cutting the promo. Now the thing about him is, for those that don't know, his eyes, he has colored eyes. He actually doesn't have peripheral vision very well. So as I'm sweeping up, he's cutting his promo because they sent him out. They said, "Go ahead and cut your promo. By the time you're done, he'll be done. You can have your match." So I'm knowing about it. He's cutting his promo. He steps to the side and he almost bumps into me. He looks down at me, and when I say he looks down at me, I mean he looks down at me. For those that don't know, this man is like 6'7", 6'8".
This man is huge.
So he almost bumps into me. He looks down at me, pauses for a moment, literally right in front of him, pauses for a moment, and goes, "Oh, I'll let you finish." So couple more sweeps, get everything out. I jump out of the ring. So I'm standing by the side of the ring because I'm still not sure who's going to referee his match, if it's going to be me or the other guy. So he's still doing his promo. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to be a fighting champion. I'm so proud to be you guys a champion, blah, 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 blah." But the thing about being a fighting champion is, here I am tonight. I don't have anybody to face. All well and good. The crowd, there's a hush over the crowd for just a split moment. Out of nowhere, it's like 3 rows back from where I'm standing. This guy, I want to say he's probably an early teenager, maybe late teenager, possibly 17, 18, stands up. He just stands up and goes, "Take on the sweeper!" The whole room goes, "Yeah! Woo!" They're cheering to get me into the ring with this monster. Here's the thing. Some wrestlers are dicks because he leans into it. He knows that I would not be able to face him, but he leans into it.
Right.
He puts his hand on the top rope, leans over and goes, "Hey, it's up to you, kid." Leans the microphone down towards me. And so I go, and I shake my finger, and I power walk out of the room. Whole crowd cheering. And so after the show, I go up to him and I was just like, "Hey, I don't know if I stepped on your toes or anything." He was like, "No, dude, that was great. Thank you for playing into it. Like that was wonderful." So all well and good. The show goes off great. Couple weeks later, we have this thing at Valdosta State University called The Happening.
Okay.
That's where we do this thing every fall semester, where basically gives new students a chance to figure out what things do the school and the greater community have to offer.
Right.
I'm out there with Hold by Bear Hansen because we're already promoting the next show.
Right.
I'm out there with him. I got on a shirt for the promotion. We're going at it. Handing out flyers, handing out little leaflets, everything. We get approached by this group. It's like 4 or 5 guys They were like, hey, I recognize you guys. Y'all were at the wrestling show. Yeah, you were the sweeping referee. And I was just like, yeah, that was me. He was just like, yeah, dude, you did so good. He was just like, bro, that was so funny when he challenged you to a match and you just walked out. That was so funny, dude. And I was just like, thanks a lot. So we talked to the guys for a couple minutes. They walk off. Hanson looks over at me and he goes, you're gonna need to steer into the you're gonna have to steer into the skid with this one. I was like, what do you mean? He was just like, take it and run with it. Like, the people recognize you as the sweeper. Like,
right.
Take it and run with it, dude. If you're gonna be able to make money off of that, like, that is a good thing to do, dog. And I was just like, oh, okay, fine.
Is that why you more or less like leaned into it? Because like, especially that was 2019. At this point, you could have rebranded. You could have gone with something different or whatnot. Like, what made you want to like truly lean into it more and like, base your wrestling persona around it?
So I will admit, like you said, I could have rebranded, but I think there's something really fun about being able to have that character that looks unassuming. Mm-hmm. And before a show or even during intermission, you see him like sweeping up the ring or whatever, and then next thing you know, he's in the ring body slamming somebody, and you're just like, it 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 helps give people that kind of realism of like, dog, this is a guy that outside of wrestling, he has a real job. Like, okay, he's actually, he's out here doing his real job, and now he gets in the ring and he's a wrestler. Like, that's something real cool. It shows that, like, it's a hardworking character. It's a character that he's all about hard work and working hard, and even if you come up short, giving it your best effort. And I think that's a lot of why I chose to really, like, lean into it, because the longer I've been this character, the more I've learned. Okay. Not only about myself, but as the character. And the sweeper now is not the same sweeper from 2019. Okay. And I think that is my favorite thing about getting to be the sweeper so far, is just the evolution of going from Jak Myles to sweeper Jak Myles the referee, to sweeper Jak Myles the wrestler, to now the sweeper Jak Myles.
Yeah.
And people know who that is, often to the point to where I get people who add me on Facebook and I'm just like, who are you? And I'll see that they have like 40 to 50 other wrestlers that I'm friends with on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And it's one of those things where it's like getting people to recognize you, right, and seeing that like that brand recognition almost is something that's so interesting, that something big would have to happen for me to get rid of this character, is what I'll say.
Okay. No, that's honestly extremely valid. Well, I'm curious because you kind of mentioned it when talking about like how the character has grown. Like, how has it changed from when you first started in 2019 to how you are now? Like, what have you learned about both yourself and the sweeper as you've really developed more on this wrestling path?
So kind of like how I mentioned it, was like, I've grown into more of that, like, never say die attitude, that mentality that, hey, I might not always come out on top.
Right.
But when you see me step into the ring, I'm going to give it my best shot. So that way, even if I don't win, I can hold my head up high and say, I gave it my best shot. I gave it the best. I gave it the best chance that I could. And all right, man, I lost out, but the kids still know that I gave it my everything.
Yeah.
And that right there is part of my philosophy, and that's part of why something I appreciate that I've grown to know so much is that, like, I have unironically become the very same thing that I wanted when I was younger. Okay. When I said I wanted to start being a wrestler, was I wanted to be that wrestler that kids are excited to go to shows to see, for the simple fact of, like, they can't really explain why they like the guy, but right, dang it, when they see him, they like him and they think that he's cool. And it wasn't until very recently that I took a step back from myself and I looked at the reaction, and I looked at how people were interacting with me, that I realized, like, dog, you have what you wanted.
Yeah.
Like, you wanted that. You wanted that thing where people see you and they light up and they're just like, it's the sweeper. Yeah. Like, people get excited to come to shows to see you. And I will say, like, I never wanted it in such a, like, all eyes on me kind of thing.
Right.
I've always wanted it to be a I've always wanted it to be a I am a part of this machine, but to be recognized as a part of the machine is enough to make me happy, because I recognize that just as much without the other wrestlers on the card, just as much without the audience to come and support us, we could not do it without each other.
Absolutely. I mean, especially with, the way you have continued to present yourself, and especially seeing the reaction every single time I see videos or I see matches of you, the reaction that people get just whenever you even enter the ring, let alone like, or just in there, like hearing the chants of sweep, 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 sweep. That's gotta be one of those like surreal, like take a step back. I've kind of made it like moments more than anything else to realize that like you're in there and people recognize you enough that they got a chant ready to go for you.
Absolutely. And I will say this, and I'll say this before I say what I'm going to say. There are going to be some guys that they look at me now. I've been wrestling 3 years out of this year.
Yeah.
There are going to be some guys that are like, he ain't been wrestling long enough for a cup of coffee yet. And I admit that. I haven't. I have a lot more to go. I have a lot more to grow as a wrestler and as a person.
Right.
But it is one of those things, like you said, it is surreal. It is. I still don't really. I still don't really believe it a lot of times. Whenever I'm at shows and my music plays and the people in the crowd, they're already like, sweep, sweep. And I'm just like, y'all cheering for me for real?
Yeah.
Like I always have to take like a really deep breath before I go out, because I'm like, I'm gonna be shaking like a leaf on a tree if I don't take a deep breath here.
Right.
Because the energy is something that I never would have expected would be aimed at me, you know?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And it is something that I will say is one of my favorite parts about it, is getting to come out, see the kids, see all the people, as you're coming by, you slap the hands, you're just like, yeah, man, how you doing? How you doing? All the high fives, and then I get in the ring and I hit that pose, and the crowd is,
yeah,
like that. That is one of those moments. Just I try my best not to take it for granted, because I recognize that just as easily as it is for me to stand there and be a wrestler for them, I could just as quickly not.
Yeah.
And so that's why really try not to take it for granted, and I try as often as I can to take a step back to really kind of like embrace that I've been given an opportunity, excuse me, and a unique opportunity at that, to do something that there are so many guys who, for what it's worth, and I hope that no one would feel the type of way when I say this, but like, there are guys that have been doing this for twice as long, 3 times, 4 times as long as I've been doing it, and haven't even gotten half of the level of notoriety when it comes to like how people react to them
Right.
when they step through that curtain. And that's just one of those things where it's just like, I give all of the credit where credit is due to the guys that have been willing to be a mentor to me.
Absolutely.
Because if it wasn't for them being willing to sit down, listen to me, give me their 2 cents, and then work with me and say, okay, well, that sucks. Let's see how we can figure something out to make it better for you.
Right.
And if it wasn't for those guys, I 100%, I don't believe I'd be running.
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt whenever, some of the opportunities you've been able to earn or whatnot comes from the one guy we've already mentioned in this podcast or whatnot. I mean, shout out to, again, previous years, Amateur April, one of the Amateur April guests, Sam Hansen, aka Hold My Beer Hansen or whatnot, with providing the cool opportunity in South Georgia known as Kraken Pro Wrestling.
Shout out to Kraken Pro Wrestling 100%.
I mean, it's got to be really cool. I can only imagine for you, especially the experience and the opportunities you've had in there. It's got to be really cool to have that kind of like, in a sense, like your home promotion. Like that is your home field advantage more than anything else. Every time you get a chance to step in there.
Absolutely, I will say 100%. But some people don't know. Some people might know if you follow them hard enough. I was one of the people that was there at their first show, at their very first show of the promotion. I was one of the people there. I've been there just about every single show. I've gotten to watch the promotion grow from an idea to what it is now as one of, if not the premier promotion for Southwest Georgia, South Georgia as a whole, honestly.
Yeah.
I have gotten to watch the other guys learn and grow as getting to become like bigger stars in wrestling, getting to learn how to be stars. Watching guys like, and he's probably gonna beat my ass for even mentioning him, but guys like Huck, the incredible Will Huckabee, getting to learn under him and watching his ideas kind of grow and seeing the things that he's come up with and watching how they translate to in front of the crowd and how watching the crowd react to things that were his ideas and being able to bend his ear and talk to him. Same with Sam Hansen and a lot of other guys in the locker room. I don't want to shout out too many guys by name. I don't want to do that. But
That's fair.
Shout outs to all of them. A couple of them will know who they are. A couple of them will probably be like, dang, you didn't even mention me by name. Yeah. Okay, you're gonna be all right. But like getting to watch Kraken and being able to say that I've been a part of that journey has been so humbling because, and I've told Hanson this several times over. He didn't have to give me an opportunity.
Right.
He did not have to give me the chance to step out and have my name associated with Kraken Pro Wrestling. And here we are a year later. I'm still incredibly humbled and incredibly appreciative that I get to be a part of that. And so big shout out to him. Again, shout outs to Huck. Because even outside of Kraken Pro Wrestling, we've had chances to where he's gotten a chance to mentor me. He's talked to me, bend my ear, get to pick his brain as far as how he does things, how he approaches wrestling. It's incredibly wild. That man has stories for days. When he inevitably hangs it up and he decides to write his book, I'm going to be one of the first people that buys it because God Almighty, literally riding to Tennessee with that man to go to a wrestling show and getting to pick his brain for 6 hours, both ways, is just something special, and I don't think I'd ever be able to do it without him, without either of them, without the guys, like I said, in Kraken's locker room. They're a big part of why I'm able to grow and why I have grown as much as I have. And I hope, as long as they'll continue to work with me, I can continue to make them proud, because this little journey of mine ain't stopping no time soon if I have anything to say about.
Of course not. Of course not. I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt that, especially with the opportunities. It's not like you've taken these opportunities for granted. I mean, you've really shown a lot of people, especially, that you deserve to be there. I mean, I am talking to a 3-time cash in, cash out scramble champion or winner more than anything else. Like,
absolutely. First and only, baby.
Yeah, first and only at this point. Like, it's got to be insane to think, especially for a wild match stipulation like that. The fact that like you've been able to earn that bank in one form or fashion in that match, huh?
Absolutely, 100%. Being able to say, because I'll admit, the cash in cash out scramble, when it was first brought up and they explained it to everybody and all the people that were going to be in it, I was like, huh? We have 6 minutes to beat our opponents and then walk out with all of the money? Dog, dog, I'm struggling right now. I gotta keep my head on a swivel for like 5 other people.
Yep.
Please help me. Oh goodness gracious. And it's a fun. I will say, at first, the very first like 2 or 3 times I was in that match, I absolutely was like, dog, this is so much, and to get my head on a swivel. But now I think it's so much fun just because you get so many you get a clash of so many different styles and personalities, and it's like my wrestling style versus that wrestling style versus that wrestling style versus that guy, and it's like, okay, well, we got this guy that's real technically savvy versus this guy that's a high flyer versus the power guy that's over here just like waiting for one of y'all to stop moving long enough. You're going to clothesline your head off versus the guy that's over there that's just like, I just want to kick you in the face. I'm just going to kick you in the face.
I mean, it's also got to help whenever, you know, you've earned quite a bit of cash with the pot that's expected with the cash in, cash out scramble and whatnot. But it also doesn't hurt that, especially with this most recent one, you were able to earn yourself one of the Kraken coins with that bad boy. Like, I can only imagine, especially with, you know, seeing the results of what exactly that Kraken coin is going to mean or whatnot come, what was it, May or June or whatnot? Like, in May.
Absolutely.
It's got to be It's got to be interesting for you to see how exactly you're going to be able to use that coin to really get those opportunities and earn those opportunities more and more.
Absolutely. With everything going, hopefully that's the goal, is to get to May to be a part of the Kraken Classic. Long story short, you make it to the Kraken Classic, you're in a tournament, you win the tournament, you are the #1 contender for the Kraken Heavyweight Championship. My goodness gracious, would I love nothing more? And I will say this because at time of recording, you know, I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
At the time of recording, I would love nothing more than to be able to get my hands on Just In Case and smack him 8 ways to Sunday.
Yep.
And I say that to also say this because I will never miss an opportunity to disparage the name of Just In Case. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that if Just In Case has no haters on this planet, it is because I am dead. I will never, ever miss an opportunity to say that Just In Case sucks eggs. Yeah. And if it weren't for me wearing this shirt right here, I would be wearing a shirt that says Just In Case sucks eggs. But I said that for this interview, I was going to wear my own.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, we don't want to. We're already giving him more than enough runtime when it comes to this episode. Just even mentioning this name, all right. We don't need to have basically his name advertised throughout the entire thing, all right. Like we for one are Just In Case haters in this household, all right.
Absolutely. He's a trash lawyer, a trash champion, a trash business owner, and I need to put him in the trash where he belongs. Yep. And hopefully I get the chance to after I make it through the Kraken Classic.
Hey, look, if you need a broom to help get that trash taken care of, I got you covered, homie.
I promise you, I might take you up on that offer, though I do still have like 6 brooms right now.
Yeah, I gotta imagine your broom collection's gotta be like one of the most intriguing ones in the world more than anything else.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I got everything from mini brooms to sweep out your cars to giant mop brooms that are used to sweep out giant areas.
I mean, you know, so, I imagine you don't skip on quality either. I mean, you gotta have a good broom.
No, yeah. I got everything from straw brooms to the more nuanced brooms to make sure I can sweep in just about any and all types of places. Just about.
Absolutely. It does leave me also intrigued because obviously, you know, when it comes to, I imagine you're ready to sweep up the other competition, especially sweep up the other sweepers out there in the world. I've heard of one that's up in like New York, I think it is, or whatnot, that calls himself the sweeper or whatnot. Like, when are we gonna get sweeper versus sweeper? That's the match I want to see.
Sweeper versus sweeper will only ever happen when both of us can decide to step out of our own individual areas and meet in neutral ground. We're not doing this on any one particular person's home turf. We gotta meet neutral ground so that way there's no BS. Nobody can just pull up and be like, he only won because he was on his home turf. Nah, I can show you anywhere, anytime.
So what you're saying is this is a Mania match waiting to happen. Like that's the only place it can happen. It can only happen in Mania. That much sweeping or whatnot. Like the dust cannot settle in a match like that. All right.
But who's to say we need to be opponents? We might be able to just team up and become the Sweeper Coalition.
Oh my god! No, that like the legit cleaning crew more than anything else like that. That's too much power. That's too much power in one place.
We all the best power. What are you talking about, man? Do you know how clean professional wrestling would be if we got together and we were able to be the cleaning crew? We swept up the competition. Do you know how clean wrestling would be? Just in case would never exist anymore.
That is true. Just in case would cease to just exist more than anything else. He'd probably just be going to jail for malpractice more than anything else once you get that taken care of.
Oh my goodness gracious.
But I will say, in all seriousness, though, like especially now that you're getting the opportunity to, being there from day one, essentially when it comes to Kraken Pro, to here you are right now, like very close to getting the opportunity to compete in the Kraken Classic or whatnot. What do you hope to accomplish, especially in at least Kraken more than anything else? Like, what was the ultimate goal there?
I would be a liar if I said that my ultimate goal didn't include me holding the Kraken Championship above my head as your Kraken champion.
I mean, nothing else. It's a gorgeous belt more than anything else.
Oh, beautiful! It is a beautiful belt. Truly one of my favorite designs of any championship.
Oh no, straight up. Yeah. I think like whether it's the biggest names in the world or whatnot or the smallest of independents, I legitimately think that is my favorite belt. Like just from the design more than anything else.
Oh, 100%. I think really my big goal is to hold the Kraken championship, to be your Kraken heavyweight champion, but also, before that, I hope to continue to grow Kraken as a namesake.
Yeah.
Because at our most recent show, we managed to be able to do like 150. We were standing room only.
Oh, wow.
By the time we got to the third match, we were standing room only. And I think that is something that speaks a lot to just the team and the team that we've been able to grow and the team that we've been able to establish here. And I want to continue to grow that. I want to be able to get to the point where we're hosting 300-400 people shows. I would love that. I would love to be able to say like, oh, we've sold out a 500 seat arena. Like, oh man, well, what? We sold out 500 seats? Yes, we sold out 500 seats. That would be a goal that I would like to be able to say that I had a part of outside of the ring,
Yeah.
But inside the ring, I definitely championships, more wins. I hope to one day align myself very much so to be your Kraken heavyweight champion. I absolutely 100%. And this has just been a goal of mine forever. When I win a championship, I'm walking into the nearest Logan's and or Applebee's with it over my shoulder.
Wait a second. 100%. Time out. Why not the Waffle House? The Waffle House is like synonymous with wrestling at this point. Like, come on, like
it is. But it's not synonymous with the Sweeper. That is the All-Star Special shtick, and I will not stand to take their thing from them.
Okay. You know what?
I won't take their thing.
You gotta respect whose home turf you're on. I get that.
So the nearest Logan's or Applebee's, walking in with it over my shoulder, I'm gonna have the biggest smile on my face. I can have a tooth missing. I'm still gonna be ear to ear. That's really my goal. That's what I want, especially for Kraken. Outside of that, I just want to build more on my own name. I do want to start breaking out of the state of Georgia, which I'm working into doing that as we speak. Hoping before the end of the year I can at least be able to say that I've wrestled in all of the neighboring states of Georgia. I got an opportunity hopefully coming up for Florida. But nothing is cemented. That's why I'm not going to name any names.
Nothing solid yet. Nothing solid.
I know a couple guys that have been wanting me to reach out for South Carolina. So I'm hopefully going to try to do that as well, because I got some family up in South Carolina, so it wouldn't be that bad
there you go.
To go up there, see some family, wrestle. Tennessee, I have wrestled in Tennessee. It was in a Rumble match. I got thrown over the top rope within like 3 minutes, but it was fine.
Hey,
I still
you can still say that you have wrestled in that state. That still
I can
counts.
100%. Alabama is going to be a little bit trickier just because I know for a fact that in Alabama you have to have a wrestling license. I got to get
Oh,
that. I got to get the wrestling license, and once I do that, then I'll be good to go. But that's the goal before the end of the year for sure.
okay.
Is to be able to say I've wrestled in all those surrounding states. Um, for Kraken, I hope to say within the next year and a half, I hope to be able to say that I've held the Kraken heavyweight championship. Uh, I hope to be able to walk out of 2025 as a champion. That'd be pretty neat for me. Uh, I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
There you go.
Here's hoping, and here's to pushing forth that dream and that reality to be something that I get to do.
Oh, I can only imagine. Well, it does also lead me to wonder. Like, let's think past just this year. Like, I'm curious, especially for Jak Myles. What is the ultimate goal? Like, what do you hope to achieve the more you go down this wrestling path?
I hope to be for someone what the guys that I mentioned earlier were for me. And what I mean by that is I hope to be the reason that someone says, I want to be a wrestler. I want to, yeah, like in an outside of wrestling capacity, I want to be that guy that's like, oh man, I want some kid to be like, oh, I watched Jak Myles. He was one of my favorites growing up. I watched him from this day, and then he made it all the way up to WWE, AEW. He was wrestling, and oh man, I got to watch him, and because of him, he was one of my favorites. I wanted to start wrestling because of him, and that's the type of goal when I think about like 20, 25 years down the road when I'm on the other end of it. I want to be able to say that. But, maybe to give it a little bit more honed in 10, 15 years from now,
Yeah.
I hope to say like, oh, I made it to WWE. I've been a champion in WWE. That's what I really hope to be able to say. I hope to be able to have that to be able to hang my hat on that to be like, hey, I made it to WWE. I've been a champion in WWE. I've been a multiple time champion in WWE. That's what I want.
That would be sick, especially if you get to that point. Like, especially like I said, for you and me, like going back or whatnot with our group of wrestling buddies or whatnot. Like, thinking here we are, like watching like this stuff either live or just watching like the pay per views or Raws or whatnot. To getting the opportunity to actually compete in that same even conversation as those people or whatnot. That would be insane. That would be wonderful.
No, and I always try to say it like this: it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
When that does happen, I want you to know, you and all my homies from college that we was all, back in the day was watching the wrestling, the Monday Night Raw, the pay per views, the Friday Night SmackDown, the NXTs, all of it. Y'all are gonna be there. Y'all been my A1 day ones. Y'all will be there when I make it to that point. Y'all are gonna be right there. Y'all gonna have to scrunch in because y'all gonna have to share some space with my wife.
That's fine. Trust me. Like, yeah, I can tidy up. I can ball up. All right, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, if nothing else, if you need a sweeper enforcer, I got kind of the mass to help you out there. That's all I'm saying.
Hey man, by that point you'll be a world-renowned podcaster, so we absolutely get you in to do something.
There you go. There you go. Plus, I imagine, especially once you get to WWE, like it's I imagine the streaming stuff that you do on the side as well. Hopefully, that will take off a little bit more, so you could be like a modern day like Zelina Vega or whatnot.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I won't say hilarious. That would be so incredible and fun and funny in a way because I'm the type of person I would win the championship. I would like, let's say I win like the Intercontinental Championship. I'd win the Intercontinental Championship. The very next day, I'd be at home streaming with it over my shoulder, just like, yeah, y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? We're having a fun time. Like I wouldn't even put it in the background. Like it would be over my shoulder.
It'd be right there. Like people will see like the reflection of whatever you're playing, like in the belt itself or whatnot.
Absolutely. Not even showing up on screen. You just gotta watch it in the belt.
Yeah, I partially bring that because I also did want to mention at least like the streaming stuff as well, because you have been having some fun when it comes to streaming as, you know, tunes or whatnot. I know that I know the name has had a little bit of reworking and reshopping over the past couple of years.
Man, I'm so upset, and this is why you need to run anything that you. This is why 9 times out of 10, if you have a name that you're trying to come up with for like anything, some service or whatever, run it through Urban Dictionary. Because I'm so upset that I went all of like 4 years and did not know that that's what that was. Like, I'm talking, I'd have named my freaking audience after that, and I'm sitting here just like, I didn't know. Look, I did not know.
Look, in your defense, I will say it did not become more prevalent what that word meant until like the past like couple years or whatnot. Like, it was not what it meant. It wasn't like the most well known that it was that. Like, you know, give it like a couple years ago when you first came up with that name, but like especially on the internet, it kind of, you know, cropped up a little bit more, and, you know, kind of yeah. But, you know, now you're presenting yourself as Tunes. I imagine, like, whenever you do get a chance to stream or whatnot, it's got to be fun to have that kind of, like, interaction directly with the audience. Some of which I imagine also see you as, you know, wrestling as well.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because what I've recently taken to doing is using my Facebook platform, Tunes, to live stream, live react to Kraken Pro Wrestling.
Right.
Because they drop weekly episodic shows. I'm a couple weeks behind at this point. But that's what I've been doing, is I've been using that platform to really kind of help prop them up and getting to live react. Because I'll admit, even though I'm at some of these shows whenever they happen, I don't always get to watch them live.
Right.
So getting to watch them back after they've been recorded and edited has been so much fun. It has been so much fun, especially my favorite clip so far that I've had, and we're bringing it back around to him, has been one of our referees, Mr. Clark, got a chance to do what I wish I could have done from the jump. He's gotten a chance. He socked Just In Case right in his stupid punchable face. And man, I have that clip saved on my computer. I go back and watch it at least 2 or 3 times a day because it is just so great. It is so wonderful just to watch him just stiff, just right in the stupid punchable face.
It's gotta be like daily. It's gotta be like daily motivation at this point. So I want to get to that point to where I can punch him across his stupid face.
Oh, absolutely. Every time Kraken Pro Wrestling starts and I'm live streaming, I pause it right when Just In Case's face pop up, and I say, I'm never gonna pass this by without saying he has a stupid punchable face.
That's perfect. You know, I've got to ask, especially at this point, like, whether it be something involved with streaming, but I imagine it's probably more towards the wrestling stuff. Like, I imagine with the opportunities that you've had and some of the experience you've been able to have, there's got to be, like, a top moment for you, like, as a wrestler, more than anything else.
Man, that's a interesting one. I think right now, as it stands, and this one, I wasn't even wrestling. This was right as I was about to transition from wrestling from refereeing to being a wrestler.
Right.
And I was at a show with Teddy Long and Buff Bagwell on it. And by that point, Teddy Long hadn't met me, but Teddy Long, he meets me, shake my hand, the whole nine. He later, and this is outside of the story, he later sees me again at a different wrestling show, recognizes me by face, doesn't know my name, but, you know, the fact that he sees me, it was just like, hey, player, how you doing? Side note, he absolutely talks like that in real life.
Oh, like, I'm aware.
100%. He talks like that. It is so wild. But, yeah, so we do the show. I ref like 2 matches on that show. It was like a 6 to 8 match card. I ref like 2 matches. After it's over, literally, the guy I mentioned earlier, Cruel, he has like this segment where him and another guy get into a fight. I get grabbed and thrown over like 3 rows of chairs. And I'm talking like it was nasty work. And it was so funny because after we got back, it just, getting asked if I was okay. And I was just like, I'm a little stiff. but I'm all right. I'll survive. And it was just, it was one of those moments. And it was one of the, I will say, the reason that this is the top moment for me is because it was one of those shows that I got to sit down and bend the ear of veterans. Because, like I mentioned, Teddy Long, Buff Bagwell, Johnny Swinger was at that show. I don't know if you, for those of you that are into TNA or were in TNA for a while, Johnny Swinger was at that show. And, just getting to bend their ears and talk to them and just kind of get advice and like, okay, well, how would you do this? How would you do that? Well, what's your advice for somebody that's trying to get in? What's your advice for guys that are new, that are, just getting their footing in? And just getting to talk to them and getting to see the people outside of the wrestler, that's always a really fun thing for me. I think that if I had to admit, either that or my second one will be actually my most recent match that I had.
Okay.
It's not as of this recording. It's not out on YouTube yet, so I won't spoil. But for all it's worth, I would say I think it's up to date, one of, if not my best match.
Okay.
And 100% prop to my opponent. Just watching the crowd reaction and just hearing the crowd reaction, just being able to work within the confines of what we were given and make something really special. And I think, yeah, I feel like those would be my top two, like my favorite moments, or like the top two, like, yeah, these are my moments.
I can honestly understand how those moments could, like, especially just how insane, like, especially like the first moment alone, just all the chaos that was involved with that one, but also like all the like moment you get to sit down and chat with these people and just be like, man, like you guys were like people that like I would see on TV, or you guys were ones I just get a chance to like have done this old song and dance for years at this point. I'm lucky enough just to get the opportunity to listen to y'all more than anything else. Like,
exactly.
It's always surreal. Can I tell you my personal favorite moment of yours that I've had a chance to see or whatnot?
By all means, please.
This was back when you were repping. This was at the promotion that you were at before you were at Kraken Pro.
Okay.
You were reffing at the time. And I forget who exactly was in the match, but it was a tag team match, all right? And like a bunch of chaos is going on or whatnot, and eventually two of the wrestlers get back into the ring. One of them goes for the pin, looks up, waiting for you to make the call. All right, like trying to get down and for the count, and you just yell back like, "You guys aren't even tagged in!" Like, it's amazing that you as a ref had the self-awareness to understand who the people were that actually were tagged into the match. And whenever like obviously the bad guys were trying to be like, "Hey, I got this guy pinned," you made sure to stand your ground as a ref. It's like, you guys aren't even in you guys are tagged in.
Y'all aren't legal.
Y'all aren't legal.
Man. That getting to be that kind of referee was fun.
Oh yeah,
because I won't say I was always the very conscious, keeping his eyes on everything, but like getting the opportunity in those moments to be like, hey, I'm no nonsense. Don't come in here thinking that you're just gonna BS me. Like, I'm keeping an eye on who is who. Like, I'm the referee. What I say goes.
Exactly.
So give me my 2 cents to be able to do this.
There you go. I mean, I can only imagine for you. We kind of talked about this beforehand, but especially thinking how far you've been able to come along on this art journey, like this wrestling journey. Thinking back to whenever you first started this bad boy, like, being a kid, just watching, wrestling, watching the Undertakers and the Shawn Michaels and trying to recreate the Jeff Hardy and all that stuff. Going from that to here you are right now, actually getting the chance to be in this ring and really make that impact in one form or fashion. Like, is it surreal to think how far you've been able to develop as an artist and as a wrestler?
It is very much. I want to say, because I didn't really get too much into it in the whole origin story, but growing up when I was younger, I got bullied pretty badly.
Right.
And wrestling was my escape. Wrestling was that thing that, like, as I have a bad day at school, but I knew I could come home and watch wrestling, or I knew I could come home and play my wrestling video game, or I knew I could come home and read my wrestling magazines. Like that was my escape. And to see where that kid who would turn on Friday Night SmackDown or would turn on Monday Night Raw or would turn on TNA and envision what it would look like when he got into the ring, and then seeing where I am now, if I could go back and tell that kid one thing, it would be, you will make it. It's just, don't let the bad days stop you from making good memories. Because and I really try not to. I'm trying not to get emotional when I think about this.
I got you. I got you.
Within the past year, literally, I had a dad who, just he reached out to me. He was just like, "Hey, man, just real quick, I just wanted to let you know that my son is a huge fan of yours, and we're coming to the wrestling show. We're coming to the show this Saturday, and his birthday is coming up. I just wanted to do something real cool for him. If there's anything that you could do, I'd really appreciate it." And before I even responded, I screenshotted that message. I sent it over to Hampton, and I was just like, "Dog, this is all thanks to you. Like, this would have never happened if it wasn't for you. And I thank you so much." He was just like, "Just keep showing them why you deserve to be in the spot." And so I went on, I made him a personalized birthday message. Shout out to him. I told him, like, "Oh, your dad reached out and he told me that your birthday is coming up. I wanted to let you know, happy birthday from the sweeper. And also hear that you're coming to the wrestling show. Well, when you get to Kraken Pro Wrestling, come and see me. I got something special for you." And I ended up giving him a shirt and like a signed picture. And just his dad reaching out after the fact and being like, "Dog, you really made his day. Like, you made his day. He has not stopped talking about you since that moment. Like, thank you so much." And it's just stuff like that like make me look back and go, it wasn't 100% how I wanted it to go.
Right.
But I would not trade how I got here for anything in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you're only scratching the surface. Like, if this is the kind of thing you're getting these days with only a handful of years under your belt or whatnot, like, imagine what you're able to do, thinking further out. In fact, speaking of thinking further out, for this next question, I want to go above and beyond that. I want to give you, Jak Myles, more or less the dream scenario, if I may. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come up to you and I'm like, "Look, Jack, we know what the sweeper is capable of, and we want to give you a nice, good, clean platform to really give you a chance to get to that next opportunity. We know you just need that little extra boost, little extra platform to get you to that point. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than there should be possible. We probably should be making sure that wrestlers are able to get like health insurance and solid stability or whatever. We'll focus on them in a little bit. We promise. We'll focus on them in a little bit. But right now we're focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Jak Myles project, or what would be the dream Jak Myles match?
All right, so, and I will admit, this has been a dream scenario, something that I've wanted to do for years, since before TNA and WWE had this partnership.
Okay.
The dream scenario. I go to TNA. I wrestle for them for 5-6 years. I win the heavyweight championship, lose it, win the X Division championship, lose it, win the tag team, lose it, get back to the X Division championship.
Okay.
I win it. I hold on to it for a year and a half, beating just about everybody that I can throughout my time. Never dropping it, because I'm like, no, I don't want to give this up to get an opportunity at the heavyweight championship. I want to be synonymous with this belt. So, cool. We get up to January of the following year. I go, you know what? There's not enough competition here for me. I'll see you all in a couple weeks. Get to the Royal Rumble. There's about 5 or 6 different people in the ring, one of which is the Intercontinental Champion. My music hits. I come out, get my little moment, and as everything goes down, I eliminate the Intercontinental Champion.
Okay.
The only elimination I get in the match, but I eliminate the Intercontinental Champion. The next night on Raw, or the following Monday on Raw, come out, the Intercontinental Championship. He's mad. He's like, I can't believe I got beat by somebody who's not even signed to this company. I come out. Hey, man, I did come out at the Royal Rumble specifically to go after you.
Okay.
Because out of everybody else in that match, you are one of the few people that I know could actually give me what I want, which is an opportunity to showcase what I can do on the grandest stage of them all. And I look past him, look up at the WrestleMania side.
Okay.
So the match would be set. And realistically, who I would want that to be, looking at the current landscape of the WWE or WWE and TNA, honestly, I would love it if realistically, it's the top three. It is the top three of who I would want that to be. One of which is Joe Hendry.
Okay, that's a given. That's a given.
The other is Braun Breaker.
Okay.
And the third, oh my gosh. I just blanked on his name. I just had it and I just blanked. I just had it and I just blanked, and I feel so.
Can you describe the guy? Like, is it?
He's on SmackDown.
Okay.
Hold on. He's not a champion.
Okay.
He's currently Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, there we go.
Carmelo Hayes. I don't know why I blanked on. Oh my gosh! But Carmelo. In fact, if I had to pick out of the three, I'd probably use Carmelo Hayes because just because I think that that whole he is him will show me, like, I am him. Show me how much you are him. Man.
Yes.
So the match itself would absolutely go to WrestleMania. Champion versus champion. Championship versus championship.
Okay.
Winner takes all. And I, of course, in this dream scenario, I'm going to win. I would like to be able to have that moment where I hold both championships up at WrestleMania. I'm holding a TNA championship up at WrestleMania. That in and of itself is enough of a goal for me. Like, I would love both championships. You see literally the Intercontinental X Division over my shoulders. We're not going to do a Kurt Angle. We're not going to do an early TNA Kurt Angle here. I'm not going to go after every championship.
Right.
But just to have that. And then, of course, following that WrestleMania moment, I would absolutely drop both belts. I would drop one in TNA, one in...
Okay.
I'd drop them back. But, like, just to have that moment in and of itself, because realistically, that will always be my, like, defining... I won't say that's my defining goal because I don't want to just say specifically like WrestleMania or bust. If I never get to WrestleMania, then I'll never consider myself. No, because I feel like I've accomplished more than what I could have ever dreamed of now.
Right.
But in the dream scenario, God, WrestleMania, Intercontinental, X Division Champion. Because, and some people are going to think, well, why not go after the WWE Championship? Why not go after the World Heavyweight? Because the Intercontinental Championship has always been known as the workhorse championship.
Exactly.
It's always been synonymous with some of the most, like, top guys in wrestling when it comes to the WWF and the WWE. So I would love to be able to hold that championship and say, my name will forever be in the annals with some of the greatest to ever grace the squared circle.
Absolutely. That would be insane. I did also thinking about who's in like WWE and TNA these days or whatnot, like I'm gonna say right now, the Carmelo Hayes, like that would be a dream match. I would want to see that for you more than anything else, because I love that. But personally, I think a good fun story, because in my little head canon or whatnot, you're still the sweeper. through and through. Like like you are living and you are dying as a sweeper. All right, like at this point. But if you were to keep that sweeper, because your thing is you want to keep wrestling clean or whatnot. Well, why not take care of someone whose little side thing is taking care of some dirty business more than anything else? The sweeper versus Tony D'Angelo. All right.
You're all about that dirty business. I'm all about that clean streak.
There you go. There we go. But sadly, we gotta get down from the dream scenario. We gotta get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question: Where do you hope to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I genuinely hope to see myself in one of the major promotions currently in the top ethos of professional wrestling. Whether that be WWE, TNA, MLW, AEW, Maple Leaf. I'll even go up to Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling up in Canada.
Canada would be cool.
New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'll go over there. I've been talking about moving to Japan for like 5 years anyway. I'll go to New Japan. See what they got cracking over there.
I was gonna say I actually got one of my former guests right now at the time they're recording. Guy's name is Irving West or whatnot.
My goodness, yes.
Yeah, he's over there in Japan right now.
Yes. Hope he's doing well. I have gotten a chance to work on some shows with him, so I hope he's doing well.
Him and Andy, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both awesome. I fucking love creeps.
Both of them. I don't know. I'm not sure if Andy went with him.
No, Andy didn't go with him. No. They're not over in Japan right now. They're still here doing stuff. So, but yeah,
Andy's also great.
Andy's incredible. But yeah, you were saying like realistically, like you hoping to possibly go over to Japan or whatnot.
Possibly Japan. Honestly, whether it's Japan, America, Europe, as long as I can submit myself in stamping and say I am on insert promotion here, and it is a major promotion outside of like a major promotion where like people all across the states know them, all across the world. Like even if I'm only wrestling once a week in like the first match on the show, like hey, cool, I'm the curtain jerk, cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. To be honest, sometimes I like being the first match on the show. It's fun.
Yeah.
And this is something I've learned, and something that being the first match in the card is an incredibly important position.
It is.
And I will admit, back in my earliest of early days in wrestling, I never understood why some people enjoyed being the first match. Outside of I get the first match. I get to be done, get done with my match and be chilling. But on top of that, it's like, you're the one that's setting the tone for the whole show.
Exactly.
Like, you're setting the tone, dog. Like, being the main event is one thing because you're the guy that's closing it out. You got to end it out on, like, a strong note. But being that opener, being that guy that's like, hey, you set the tone for everything that's coming after it. That is a important role. And I did not realize how important that was until I started being that guy. And I'm just like, oh. I was like, y'all want me to be first? You sure? Yeah, y'all don't want to put me like second or third? I can ride the momentum. You sure? Okay, all right, fine. First match. All right, let's go.
Yeah, goodness. Even then, regardless, like just getting the opportunities that you're talking about. I mean, I'm a little biased, but I'd love to see that stuff for you.
Absolutely.
As we start to wind down this interview, I just got one last question I want to ask you, Jack. Obviously, you are deeply invested in art and in wrestling at this point. Like, there is nothing that's going to take you out of this world, no matter how hard they try. All right.
Absolutely.
How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
And I hope I don't sound cliche when I say this, but it's incredibly important, dog. Because just in the multifaceted like ways that people can be creative in the world, and they can bring about creativity and to inspire people. is so important because goodness gracious, man, like I could never imagine having someone who they just go throughout their lives and it's like, well, I never was inspired by anything, you know, I never heard any good music, or I never saw any good art, or I never watched anything that moved me. And it's like that's why I love hearing about people's passions for stuff, because it's just like, tell me something you're passionate about,
Yeah.
because you never know who is going to be inspired listening to your passion for something. You never know. You never know who's going to be inspired. So I think it's so important, and I love being able to have these avenues for people to be able to open up about their creativity. That's why I love this show, because you're able to give people an opportunity and give them an avenue to share their creativity, to share their love for art as a whole. And I think it's so great. It's so important. It's so wonderful. From everything from music to crocheting.
Yeah.
And I say that very pointedly because my wife has been crocheting for the past like 5-6 months now. She's gotten really good at it. She makes all kinds of blankets and shawls.
Nice.
And I sit there in awe at her because I'm just like, dog, you took a needle and you took a hook and some yarn and you made this, and that's really cool.
Oh yeah, my stepmom's been doing crochet for years, so I know exactly like what exactly what you're talking about.
See, and we just start with a skein of yarn, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, there's a blanket.
Yeah.
A blanket. Oh, I crocheted it. When did you crochet it? The past couple of days, whenever I've had some free time, I've just been crocheting. Huh?
But I think that is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself.
Absolutely.
Jack, that is all the questions I have had for you. I've already showered you with Lord knows how much praise at this point, but I'm going to shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what the fuck I want.
I appreciate it.
Look, like I said, Jack, I have known you for years. I have known you whenever, it was just you and I, I remember when we were back in the day playing freaking Smash Brothers in the I remember those days. Yeah, like playing Smash Bros in the middle of our like the dorms or whatnot with everyone like playing or whatnot, and it's been good to really see you like really grow and chase your passion in one form or fashion, like especially after the fact, especially with you being one of the reasons why I am so invested in wrestling and really love and see and enjoy it or whatnot, like to see you like take that love and passion for it and to go further with it and to like actually take the opportunity to take those steps, because I know it's not easy. Like it's never easy to step in that realm, not just on a physical standpoint but on like a mental standpoint or whatnot. Like there's so much that goes into that, and there's so much that could go wrong with that if you're not careful. So to see you like actually taking the steps to go forth and like chase that love, chase that passion, like it's really inspiring at the end of the day. It's really cool. That's why I consider myself lucky not to just know you but to even consider you my friend in the first place, because dog, like seeing the more opportunities you've been able to get and seeing how you've been able to knock every opportunity out of the park, really get that crowd by your side, inspire those people like you really want to be inspired. Like, dude, you're doing what you want and then some. You're doing what you've always wanted to do and then some. And it's really cool. And like I said a little earlier, you're only scratching the surface. You're only a few years into this bad boy. Like, I cannot wait to see, especially if you keep up with this, where you could potentially go 5, 10, 20, Lord knows how many years from now doing this thing and really showcasing that love right back to the people and having the people by your side rooting for you, waiting for that sweep to just come through that entire crowd, man. Like, I know it's going to be sick. And whether you keep up with the sweeper gimmick or whether you find some other cooler gimmick that resonates with the crowd, not saying that the sweeper isn't cool, I'm just saying, like, there could be something else that resonates with the crowd differently or whatnot, whatever may be and whatever your future may hold, no matter how wild and unpredictable it is, just know I'm going to be by your side, man. I'm going to be rooting for you every single step of the way, and I'm going to be excited to see all the opportunities you get, all right? I cannot wait for what's next, genuinely. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you for putting yourself out there like you have been, and just keep being fucking awesome, dude.
Man, I really do appreciate that. And same goes the other way, honestly. I love this so much. I love seeing what you have created, seeing the community that you have grown, getting to be a part of this community, getting to be a part of just seeing this, man. I was there when you had the idea to start this, and seeing how much it's grown all these years later has been nothing short of amazing. I love seeing people that I care about, people that I consider being my friends. I love seeing them succeed, and I love getting to see them build on things that they're passionate about. Right. So same as you say to me that you are going to be there for me and you got my back and you can't wait to see where it goes from here. Same goes for you, dog. I cannot wait till you absolutely have everything you want and then some, because I know it's coming. Like right. this right here, dog. Like, come on, man. Like, give yourself the pat on the back that you deserve, because come on, man. Like this has been great. You've had some of the coolest people, some of the most amazing people and like individuals be a part of this podcast. And that is not a short or any kind of small thing to just, shake your head at. Like, that is something really awesome. And I think more people should be appreciative of the work that you are doing, not just me. But I need you to know that I am appreciative. I got your back the way that you say you got mine, and we gonna make it. Yes. And when we both standing at the top of our respective mountains, I'm gonna shout over, "I told you we'd make it."
Okay, first off, you don't need to butter me up. All right, we already have the interview. Like, it's gonna be out there. No. Hey, in all seriousness, thank you for the kind words. It really does mean a lot, because I mean, where I was at the start of it. You were a little bit there for part of it. Episode 13, people. I recommend you go back and check that episode out. It was a fun chat. It was a fun interview.
It was.
But again, it's. Sometimes I have to take a step back as well and just realize, like, holy shit, who the fuck have I had on here? Like, good lord. Like, I've really had a chance to get, again, the guy that was the, director for Class of 3000. I've had the guy that created one of the shows that I grew up watching and still meme to this day, Maxwell Adams, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and such. Like, it's always surreal, but, at the end of the day, I'm doing this mainly because, like, I have that love for the artists such as yourself, and I want to showcase that love right back to y'all and have incredible conversations like we've had today. So if people want to know why exactly I have been gushing about you for Lord knows how long we've had this conversation so far, go ahead and plug yourself for the people at home. Where can people find you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky at Jak Myles. The one I want to say on Blue Sky, it's actually just Jak Myles at Blue Sky. You can find me almost exclusively, but not really exclusively, on Kraken Pro Wrestling's YouTube page. I am on a lot of their episodes because I wrestle for them very much, because I have told them, and I mean it, as long as they're willing to let me come back, I will continue to do everything that I can to sweep up the competition.
There you go.
Trying to think of where else I might be. I'm also on TikTok.
There you go.
Sweeper Jack. At Sweeper Jack on TikTok. Don't post as much as I would like to, because real world jobs keep me tied up more than I would like them to. But I do post regularly on there. On Facebook, you will find me posting about Just in Case a lot, because I will not let more than a week go by without me telling the world that Just in Case sucks eggs.
There you go. There you go. And if you missed any links, I'm sure to have them in the description below, especially that merch shop that I think you have, because, I mean, we need some more of this out there in the world. We need some more of the cleaning crew.
Absolutely.
Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Yeah. And to take from Daniel Bryan, circa, what was that, 2018?
You talk about when...
The leading into him versus Kofi Kingston.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's 2019, I believe, maybe. Because 2019 was when Kofi Mania happened.
Yes, so this was leading into that. This was, I believe, before he even won the championship. When he come back again to wrestle.
Okay.
In the words of him, do not let your dreams just be dreams. Fight for your dreams, and your dreams will fight for you. And if anybody can be that motivation and an example of fighting for your dreams and your dreams fighting for you, look at me. Because when I started back in 2018, nobody would have assumed that some little kid from South Georgia with only general knowledge of how to do anything would become almost a household name in South Georgia wrestling, and is slowly working his way up to become a bigger name in wrestling with each passing day. So, like I said, don't let your dreams be dreams. Fight for them, and they're going to fight back for you, I promise.
Lovely words to end on. And with that, like I always do, all I have to say is for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists. Tell me what's wrong, tell me it's parts in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, pick me up in the car you drove when you used to call. Show me it all. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. As you can kind of tell, this episode was more... It was less about an interview about an amazing artist, and more just catching up with an old friend. Who is also an amazing artist, to be fair. Jack, if you've gotten up to this point, sincerely, thank you for taking the time to do this. And I was not joking whenever I told you before that I am so happy and proud to see how much you've been able to grow as a person and as an artist. You know, one of the beautiful things about this podcast is how I'm able to keep in connection with a lot of people and see just how much they get a chance to grow. I mean, you guys have hopefully been with this podcast long enough. If this is your first time, again, thank you for taking the time to stick to this part. But if you've checked the podcast long enough, you know that I've had a ton of conversations with a ton of amazing people. And to see a lot of those people getting opportunities and really doing some incredible stuff, having cool opportunities to work on stuff that it just blows my mind that they get a chance to even play around in that world more than anything else. It leaves me... I'm proud. As a person, as a host, but more importantly as a friend. I am so proud of each and every single guest that gets a chance to come through here and to see how much they get a chance to grow. No matter how big or how small, no matter how professional or how personal that they grow, just seeing any opportunity for them to do more. And especially with Jack, seeing how much he has been able to just do in general, I could not tell you how happy and proud and honored I am to consider him one of my best friends. I'm forever going to be proud of him. And I sincerely cannot wait to see where he goes. Just like any of the guests and any of the people in this community. Genuinely, I want to see how far you guys are able to go with your love and your passion. Because I know you guys have so much to put out there into the world. So keep up the incredible work and keep growing. Keep doing incredible stuff. Sincerely. Because I love to see that growth. I love to see what you guys are able to do. Please keep doing incredible stuff. You guys are already doing a good job at it anyway. Just keep it going.